Welcome to Lesson 6.5 of the Grant Architect course. In this lesson, we explore narrative format biosketches used by foundations and other non-federal funders. Unlike the structured NIH and NSF formats, narrative biosketches offer more flexibility in how you present qualifications. However, this flexibility requires strategic thinking about what to include and how to organize information. The narrative format allows you to tell your story in a way that connects directly to the proposed project. By the end of this lesson, you will know how to craft compelling narrative biosketches tailored to different funders and how to highlight the most relevant aspects of your background. Narrative biosketches differ significantly from structured formats. Flexibility means more freedom in format and content. You are not constrained by specific sections or rigid requirements. This allows creativity but requires discipline. Length varies from one paragraph to several pages. Some funders want brief bios while others request detailed backgrounds. Know what each funder expects. Storytelling provides opportunity to craft a narrative. You can tell your professional story in a way that connects with the proposed work. Narrative flow engages readers. Funder-specific adaptation adjusts to each funder's preferences. What works for one foundation may not suit another. Research funder expectations. Narrative format is used in various contexts. Private foundations most commonly use narrative format. They typically do not require federal structured formats. Foundations want to understand who will do the work without bureaucratic structure. Corporate funders often prefer brief, accessible bios. Corporate philanthropy tends toward less formal documentation. They want to quickly understand qualifications without technical formatting. Government non-research funders sometimes allow narrative format. Not all government grants are research grants requiring NIH or NSF format. Service-focused grants may use simpler biographical documentation. International funders frequently use narrative approaches. Many international funding bodies do not follow U.S. federal formats. Their requirements vary widely. Essential elements of narrative biosketches establish your credibility through strategic presentation of qualifications. While formats vary, certain elements appear consistently. Professional background provides context about your career trajectory. Where did you train? What positions have you held? What is your current role? This establishes your professional identity. Relevant expertise highlights qualifications directly related to the proposed project. What knowledge and skills do you bring that are specifically needed for this work? Make explicit connections between your expertise and project requirements. Significant accomplishments demonstrate your track record of success. What have you achieved that predicts future success on this project? Quantify outcomes where possible and emphasize accomplishments most relevant to the current opportunity. Current responsibilities describe your present work and available capacity. Reviewers want to understand what you do now and how this project fits with your existing commitments. Professional affiliations and memberships can establish your standing in relevant fields. Highlight memberships that demonstrate engagement with communities related to the proposed work. These elements combine to create a portrait of a qualified professional prepared to lead or contribute to the proposed project successfully. Crafting effective narrative biosketches follows good storytelling principles. Opening hook leads with your most compelling credential. What is the strongest reason you are qualified? Start there. Draw readers in immediately. Logical flow connects experiences to the proposed work. Each element should build toward demonstrating your fitness for this project. The narrative should feel purposeful, not random. Specific evidence includes concrete accomplishments. Numbers, outcomes, and specific achievements are more credible than vague claims. Quantify where possible. Conclusion reinforces fitness for this specific project. End by making explicit why your background makes you ideal for this work. Do not leave the connection implicit. Length and format considerations for narrative biosketches vary by funder, but certain principles apply broadly. Length limits should be respected precisely. If a funder specifies 2 pages, do not exceed 2 pages. If no limit is specified, aim for 1 to 2 pages that cover essential information without padding. Concision demonstrates respect for reviewers and ability to communicate efficiently. Format should be professional and readable. Use clear headings to organize content. Maintain consistent formatting throughout. Choose readable fonts at appropriate sizes. White space aids readability, so avoid cramming text. If the funder provides a template, use it exactly as specified. Narrative flow matters in ways it does not for structured formats. Your biosketch should read smoothly from beginning to end. Transitions between sections should be logical. The overall narrative should tell a coherent story about who you are professionally and why you are qualified for this work. First-person voice is typically appropriate for narrative biosketches, though third-person is sometimes used. Whichever you choose, be consistent throughout. First-person can feel more personal and direct, while third-person may seem more formal. Match the tone to funder culture and your own comfort. Writing in third person is standard practice for biosketches. Third person is standard because most biosketches use this voice. It creates professional distance and reads as objective description rather than self-promotion. An example shows the difference. Write, Dr. Smith has worked in community health for 15 years, rather than I have worked in community health for 15 years. Third person sounds more formal. Consistency means maintaining the same voice throughout. Do not switch between first and third person. Choose one and stick with it. Exception exists when some funders request first person. Occasionally, foundations want personal statements in first person. Follow their guidance when specified. Highlighting relevant experience requires strategic selection and presentation of your background. Not everything you have done is equally relevant. The key is identifying experiences that directly connect to the proposed work and presenting them compellingly. Start by analyzing what the project requires, what knowledge is needed, what skills must the team possess, what types of experience would predict success. Then review your background for matching elements. For each relevant experience, describe not just what you did, but what you accomplished and learned. Outcomes matter more than activities. Did the project succeed? What results did you achieve? What lessons inform your current approach? Make explicit connections between past experience and the proposed project. Do not assume reviewers will see the relevance. State directly how your previous work prepares you for this new endeavor. If your most relevant experience is older, you can still highlight it while addressing how you have maintained currency. Recent professional development, ongoing engagement with the field, or current projects that apply past learning can demonstrate continued relevance. Quality of relevant experience matters more than quantity of general experience. Team bios require coordination across personnel. Consistency means using similar format for all team members. When presenting multiple bios, they should look like they belong together. Consistent structure aids comparison. Hierarchy provides more detail for leads and less for support staff. The project director gets more space than the administrative assistant. Allocate bio length by role importance. Complementarity shows how skills complement each other. If one person brings research expertise and another brings community relationships, make this complementary strength clear. Collective strength can be shown through team biography when appropriate. Sometimes a single paragraph describing the team's combined qualifications works better than individual bios. Common mistakes weaken narrative biosketches. Too long means excessive detail loses readers. Every sentence should earn its place. If information does not support your case for this project, consider cutting it. Irrelevant content includes information unconnected to the project. Your hobby as a marathon runner rarely matters for grant proposals. Include only professionally relevant information. Generic language means using the same bio for every proposal. Reviewers notice when bios are not tailored to the specific opportunity. Customize for each submission. Missing connection means no link to proposed work. If your bio does not clearly connect to why you are qualified for this project, you have missed the purpose. Resumes versus biosketches represent different approaches to presenting professional credentials that serve different purposes. Understanding these differences helps you create appropriate documents for each context. Resumes typically provide comprehensive employment history. They list all positions, often in significant detail, creating a complete record of professional experience. Length may be multiple pages depending on career stage. Resumes emphasize positions held and responsibilities performed. Biosketches are selective summaries focused on relevance. They highlight experiences and accomplishments most pertinent to a specific opportunity rather than providing comprehensive history. Length is typically constrained, often to 2 pages or less. Biosketches emphasize impact and outcomes rather than just activities. When creating biosketches from resumes, you must make strategic choices about what to include and what to omit. Not everything on your resume belongs in your biosketch. Select experiences that best demonstrate your qualifications for this specific opportunity. The selection and framing of content should change for different opportunities. A biosketch for a research grant emphasizes different elements than one for a community program grant. Tailor your biosketch for each application rather than using a generic version. Adapting for different audiences recognizes that foundation biosketches should be tailored to specific funders and opportunities. What impresses one funder may be irrelevant to another. Research the funder before writing. What do they value? What language do they use? What types of credentials seem to matter based on who they have funded previously? Adjust your emphasis accordingly. Consider the reviewer perspective. For community foundations, reviewers may include community members rather than professional experts. Avoid jargon and explain your credentials in accessible terms. For professional foundations, reviewers may have deep expertise. Use appropriate technical language and assume familiarity with your field. Match the tone and style to the funder culture. Some funders prefer formal academic presentation, while others value more personal narrative approaches. Review the funder's communications and previously funded projects for cues about their preferences. Address specific criteria mentioned in the RFP. If the funder lists particular qualifications they seek, ensure your biosketch explicitly addresses each one. Do not assume reviewers will infer that you meet criteria. State your qualifications directly and clearly. Examples illustrate effective biosketches at different lengths. A brief example of 2 to 3 sentences might read, Dr. Jane Smith serves as Program Director at Community Health Center, where she oversees primary care services for underserved populations. With 15 years of community health experience and a doctorate in public health, she has led initiatives serving over 10,000 patients annually. A standard example of one paragraph would add more detail about background and accomplishments while maintaining focus. An extended example of multiple paragraphs would provide detailed career narrative, significant accomplishments, and comprehensive relevant background. Match length to funder expectations. Here is a practical exercise to apply what you have learned. Step 1. Write a 2-sentence bio for a general audience. Include your current position and most compelling qualification. Keep it simple and accessible. Step 2. Expand to a full paragraph with more detail. Add relevant experience, education, and key accomplishments. Maintain focus on what matters most. Step 3. Create a version tailored to a specific project. Take your general bio and adapt it for a particular proposal or funder. Emphasize relevant elements. Step 4. Review and edit for conciseness and impact. Cut unnecessary words. Strengthen weak claims. Ensure every sentence contributes. Let us summarize the key points from this lesson on narrative format biosketches. Narrative biosketches offer flexibility compared to structured federal formats but require strategic thinking about content and presentation. Essential elements include professional background establishing your career context, relevant expertise connecting your qualifications to project requirements, significant accomplishments demonstrating track record, and current responsibilities showing available capacity. Highlighting relevant experience means selecting strategically from your background and making explicit connections to the proposed project. Outcomes matter more than activities. Resumes and biosketches serve different purposes. Biosketches are selective summaries tailored to specific opportunities, not comprehensive employment histories. Adapting for different audiences requires researching funders and adjusting emphasis, tone, and language to match their preferences and reviewer characteristics. Practical application involves analyzing funder requirements, selecting relevant content, and crafting narrative that positions you as ideally qualified for the specific opportunity. In our next lesson, we will explore the management plan, examining how to describe project oversight and implementation structures.